Welcome to the PureDWTS.com interviews with the best people in Dancing with the Stars, and we're excited with our special guest today, Edyta, one of the Dancing with the Stars pros. Welcome, Edyta.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I know you're in the midst of all the rehearsals, so we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Sure.
So I want to start off with, really we actually got questions from a lot of our readers. So that's one of the great parts is, it's really questions coming from your fans. And the first question comes from one of our regular readers named Sidra. And she said she's really looking forward to having you back in the Dancing with the Stars ballroom. And her question is, what did you miss most about Dancing with the Stars while you were away?
I think the people that I worked with there on the production side and on dancers and all the people from the crew and celebrities, just the interaction and that you get with so many interesting personalities was so great that and the volume of it too. I mean, you meet so many people every single season, and I think I missed that the most. So, and actually one of the reasons why I came back was to reconnect with everyone. And when I literally came into a studio, when we had the big premiere shoot, it felt like coming back home because so many people still work there, which is quite incredible given that I was gone for 12 seasons.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that was actually what Zach wanted to know, is what drew you back to the show. So it's interesting to hear you talk about the camaraderie. Was it? Did it feel like just coming home and it was just normal and more of the same, or were there a lot of changes?
I mean, there are clearly a lot of changes which I will still experience because I haven't done the first show yet. But from the production side, there are still many of the people that were there when I was on the show. And one of the reasons why I came back again is to reconnect with people and also to prove myself that I can still do it. It's at this point in my life, after such a long break and with a baby at home, it's a challenge, and it felt like that's exactly what I need in my life right now. I needed a challenge.
Nice. Well, there were actually a number of people who asked some questions about how it's changed being a mom now. In fact, Heidi, she said, has becoming a mom changed anything about your dance style, such as how you think about choreography, the emotion you put into the dance, or maybe even how you actually move? Tell us about that. How has being a mom changed those things?
I think being a mom changed my perspective on life in general. So I take it makes everything makes sense right now, and your priorities change. So I'm a lot more relaxed about everything, choreography and dancing included, because I know that in the big scope of things, as much as I am competitive and I take everything I do very serious, it is only dance competition, and it is only a cha-cha or waltz or whatever routine. So I do my best, but I know what's really important in life right now.
It's interesting that you say that, because one of the things I loved about you was that you never took any lip when and you really stood up for what you thought and what you believed in. So do you think we'll still see that, or do you think we'll see a softer, gentler Edyta?
I think I'm pretty soft and gentle person, but definitely I have a lot of patience, and you will see a lot of kind of the soft goody side of Edyta this season. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, I don't think you were mean or anything. But I just loved how you defended yourself. You weren't afraid to mix it up with the judges if you had a different opinion. So I've always loved that about you.
Oh, and I will still do that. There's no question about it. If I think they are not fair, I will say that. But again, it is a dance competition, and we have to remember that it's not the end of the world if they don't like your dance or they don't like what you've done. It's okay. It's their opinion. So, but yes, of course, I will be standing up particularly for my partners.
Indeed. In fact, I think that's when you usually defend them, is when it's your partner. So is there anything that's harder or easier in terms of dance since becoming a mom? I mean, it seems like maybe even the long hours would be pretty tough with the baby at home.
Yes, definitely. That's the toughest part, the time management and the fact that you that I'm away from the baby
Mhm.
for long periods of time, and the engagement is, there's training, and there are interviews, and there are costume fittings, and there are a whole bunch of things, photo shoots and promo shoots that you have to be involved in. So it's really, really busy, and I definitely miss my son. More so that I am very hands-on mom, and I spend every single minute with him, and I don't have an army of nannies taking care of him. If I can, I am with him, and for the first 2 years of his life, I was the person that spent the most time with him. So now this is a big change for him and for me. So that's the toughest part
Sure.
for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's great. It sounds like you're a great mother. So Lynn asked another question. She said she's missed you and your costumes, and she wanted to know, can we expect more of these phenomenal costumes?
Oh
There's
my
been no
goodness.
one like you since, she said. I think everyone talks about the costumes with you, right?
Yes, sure. I mean, but you know what? That was, I mean, I understand that my costumes were, probably sort of extravagant and revealing for the first 10 seasons, but now I'm back and I'm looking at some of the costumes of the girls, the girls that are
Mhm.
wearing now, and they are, I don't think I can top that. They wearing less fabric than I ever worn. So I'll definitely stick to my style. But in terms of how controversial my costumes will be, I don't think I can top that. I mean, I girls are dancing literally right now in bras and little boy shorts. I don't think how much more you can reveal.
Indeed, I think they just didn't have the same length as you, so it doesn't come off the same way, and so maybe that's what makes you stand out in that regard.
Well, thank you. I'll try not to
Yes.
disappoint you guys in the costume department.
Yeah, well, and there's a new costume designer, I think, since you've been gone too, so I think it will be interesting to see how that plays into it as well.
They are actually people that work there, but they were the assistants of the main
Right.
costume designer, and they took over. So it's not that big of a change. I've
Okay.
worked with them before, and I love them, and these are one of the people that I knew and came back, and it felt really good to work together again.
Yeah, that's great. You know, it was interesting. Three different people asked kind of a similar question and kind of related to some of the things we talked about. Is that, what do you think about the changes to the show over the years? Do you like the flexibility, that they've given the different pros, or do you feel it's straying too far from the ballroom? I mean, Nerisse, Chase, and Jillo asked that question. What do you think of all these changes?
You know what? I'm a little bit conflicted myself because I do like the freedom that we get as dancers
Mhm.
to choreograph and to use props and to use other dancers in your numbers. Because I remember when the show started, we were actually forbidden to use props. We were forbidden to
Wow.
do crazy things that we wanted to. The production was very strict about it, and it was very restrictive. So it's hard for me to say. Maybe it has gotten a little bit over the top, but in the end of the day, it's about bringing great entertainment, and as long as people are entertained, I think that's fine. And the show had to change. I mean, we are on season
Sure.
22. If the show stayed the same, it would be way too boring. So maybe it's not exactly what everyone had in mind and fall in love with seasons, in those first few seasons. But I think show like that has to change, has to morph, and I think it morphed in a very good direction. And creatively, is a lot more extravagant, and it's much bigger. And I think it's a good change. Maybe coming back to traditional ballroom every once in a while would be good, and I hope that's gonna happen this season. But
Mm.
that's unfortunately not my decision to make. And I also think it depends on the professional dancers. In the first few seasons, majority of the dancers were came from the ballroom world, and now half of the dancers are not primarily ballroom. They know ballroom, but
Mhm.
they are primarily trained in other styles of dance, and obviously they feel more comfortable in other styles, so they're going to be going in a different direction too. So I think that depends on the cast as well.
Sure. Well, it's interesting. You could almost see a theme night of only traditional ballroom, no props, and no extra dancers. Might be an interesting theme night. And what do you think about theme nights? Do you have a favorite theme night that you hope they do this season?
Gosh, I do like this theme of the most memorable year because that's something that really brings everyone, the celebrities and the dancers, closer to the audience and kind of gives audience a sense of knowing everyone a little better after they reveal what was their most memorable year and what was. It's a very emotional week, and I think that would be cool to do.
Yeah. Well, and I loved last season. The pros and the stars got featured with the kind of their stories. So I think that was a nice addition.
Right, and look, it had to take 20 seasons for the production to realize that maybe people would be interested in the pros as well.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the pros are as famous as the stars these days. It's excellent. That's great. One other thing about the changes that I think people would be interested in, I think Chase actually asked this question, do you have any outside experience choreographing other dance styles like contemporary and jazz, or will this be a challenge for you? And maybe will you look to some outside choreography help there?
To be very honest with you, I have a little bit of experience, but it's not my area of expertise, and it will be a challenge. I'm not going to lie about it. And I probably will look for outside help, and I'll be very open about it. I will do as much as I can myself, but if I feel like maybe with Geraldo this season I won't, just because I don't see him, doing barefoot contemporary number or some modern dance or hip hop. But in the future, if I'm back on the show again, and if I get someone who will be able to do stuff like that, I probably will look for help, because I think that's only beneficial for the couple. And I don't have, in terms of getting help, I don't have big ego. I want to do what's the best for the couple.
Indeed, and you want to make the star look good, so that makes sense.
Exactly, and I'll do whatever it takes.
Sure. All right, so here's a quick lightning round of questions. I'll ask you a question if you give me maybe a one-word or one-phrase answer. So Lynn asked, what's your favorite thing about being a parent?
Pretty much everything.
Everything. Nice. All right, the next one is, what dance are you looking forward to dancing to the most this season?
Oh, gosh. This season, for some reason, Paso Doble. I think Geraldo would be interesting in that.
Yeah, he's got the right look. So what first comes to mind when I pose this phrase to you? A dancer's life is blank.
It's difficult. That will come first to mind.
Nice. And the most memorable dance I've ever done is, and this could be on Dancing with the Stars or otherwise, anytime. What's the most memorable dance you've ever done?
Oh gosh, there would have to be a couple of them, but probably one of the most memorable dances was in the show that we produced with my husband. We danced this contemporary rumba to Sarah McLachlan Angel, and I loved that dance. And we danced to Adele, Chasing Pavements on Dancing with the Stars, also with my husband, and I love that one too.
Nice. So we could pretty much say any dance with your husband. Is that a fair statement?
Maybe not any, but the most memorable ones were with my husband.
That's great. So Lauren wanted us to go back a few years and kind of say, how did you get into dancing as a child, and do you remember your first competition and what it was like?
Sure, you always remember the first. I signed myself up for a class. I started pretty late. I was 10, and I knew that I wanted to dance, and there was a ballroom class near my house, and I just said, Mom, I'm going to sign myself up, and she said, sure. And then I got more and more involved and eventually end up on Dancing with the Stars. But my first competition was pretty terrible, I must say. My second competition, I won. But the first one, yes, the second one I won, and I knew that, gosh, this is such a great feeling to be awarded for something you worked so hard for that I knew I was hooked. But the first one, I didn't know what I'm doing. I didn't know what to expect. And I remember, obviously girls love to be made up, and I had my hair done and my
Sure.
mom did my makeup, and it looked all ridiculous now that I'm looking back at it. But we were trying so hard, and I don't think me and my partner even made the final. And my partner was one of my classmates who I dragged. He didn't really like dancing, but I think he liked me, so I dragged him to the class. So we were in a good partnership. I just needed a boy to dance it. But and the second competition was with a boy that was already dancing, had a little bit of experience, and we were on the same
Mhm.
page, very committed, and it was great experience. So yeah.
Wow. Great story. Good stuff. So let's switch to this season and a little bit. Vogue wanted to know, how are the rehearsals going with Geraldo?
It's going great. Geraldo is very committed and hardworking and kind of realistic too. He knows he's the oldest competitor. He knows that he
Mhm.
might not be the best dancer out there, but he wants to give it a shot, and he wants to prove people that even at this age you can dance, and that when you are over 60 or 70, it doesn't mean that you have to sit on your couch and retire from doing anything, but you can still get up and dance. And he's kind of
Nice.
a walking, living proof that that you can be at any age. You should be willing to take a challenge and do the best you can and have fun doing it. And he really does. So uh, in a way, he's a huge inspiration to me, and I hope he's going to be an inspiration to viewers at home.
He certainly brings a vibrancy to it. I wonder if the biggest challenge for him might be that he's still working full time, and so the schedule gets pretty brutal. And then, like you said, he's the oldest dancer this season. It seems like that could catch up with him working and dancing. Is that, what do you foresee going on there?
I think it's a combination. It's the fact that he's still working, and the fact that he's the oldest competitor, and physically, um, I don't know how old you are, but I even notice a difference between now and when I was in my 20s, and there's nothing you can do about it. Dancing is like sport, and everyone knows that athletes retire at a certain age. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not something you can do for your whole life. It's demanding, incredibly demanding on your body. So I think the schedule and the fact that he is 72 years old is
Wow,
definitely a challenge. But he is doing great, and he is in a very good shape for his age.
that's good. Yeah, I'm approaching 40. I play a lot of ultimate frisbee, and the recovery afterwards is just really hard. Is that the same for you? How many seasons later? Let's see. I guess you would have started 20 seasons ago or something. Is it much harder the recovery now, or are you still in just great shape? Because I mean, you have been dancing even in the 12 years you were off. Is it a lot more challenging now doing the rigor of Dancing with the Stars as it was when you started?
I think the time commitment is the most challenging thing. The fact, the long hours, the call times sometimes at 4 and 5 a.m. and sometimes we were shooting something for the premiere of the show until midnight the other day. So this is more challenging than the recovery because, to be honest with you, I've been dancing all along. It's not like I had such a
Mhm.
long break. I've been dancing a lot less, particularly last 2 years when I had a baby. But I have
Yeah.
been trying to keep in shape and stay fit and stay healthy. So it's the schedule that's most drooling, and it's always been on Dancing with the Stars. Even when you teach a celebrity, comparing to the professional training that we've done when we were competing in ballroom, it's actually
Uh-huh.
quite easy because you have to you are a teacher. For the most of the time, you are a teacher. You're only performer, when you are actually on the live show. But for the rest of the
Mm.
time, you are there to teach that other person. And yes, physically, you have to go through that routine certain amount of time, but majority of time you have to teach the routine. You have to go through it slowly. Your celebrity has to absorb it, has to learn it. It's mentally difficult, but physically you have to go through it a million times slowly, and then start doing it intensely. So it's rather the time commitment again than actual physical effort that's hard to handle.
And the monotony, I guess, of doing the same routine, I guess, that's a little bit monotonous, I'd imagine.
Well, not really, because you have it's a little bit monotonous now before the first week, because we get the longest time to practice that first routine. We get 3 weeks. But after that, you only get a week for each routine. So it's before you actually realize that, you hardly learn the routine and it's already Saturday and you have to perform in 2 days. It goes by very quick.
Well, Edyta, you've been so generous with your time. I thank you so much for talking with us. I just want to read you one thing I wrote, and it was half tongue-in-cheek, and I want to get your reaction just to finish this off. But we kind of had initial impressions of the cast and the eliminations and things, and we this is what I wrote. We did the category, who stood out at the cast announcement? My answer was, I was distracted by Edyta the whole time, so I guess that means she stood out for me. Then we said, who will be the first elimination? And my response was, doesn't matter to me as long as it's not Edyta. And then we said, who could be a shocking elimination? I said, if Edyta was ever eliminated, it would be shocking to me. And then we said, who would make the finals? I said, Edyta. So I guess you could say I'm a fan.
Thank you so much. That was very, very sweet.
No, thank you so much for taking time talking with us.
Thanks again. It was great talking to you, and I hope you'll enjoy watching this season.
Definitely, and we'd love to catch up again sometime in the future. And thanks so much for sharing your insights with PureDWTS.com.
Sure.